We talked about your parents and sort of the influence they had on you, and the creative spirit that they sort of instilled in their children.
Right.
We're also going to talk about some of your greatest negotiations and your greatest deals. Let's start with the first major deal you negotiated.
Yeah.
I think it was
Yeah.
negotiating over. So go ahead.
I can start there because I was 5 years old at the time. Well, anyway, I think that we all are born with our personalities, whatever they are, right? Really, that's true, I think, and we learn from things that we encounter in life. But when I was in kindergarten, kindergarten was 2 years then. We didn't have preschool the way they have it, in subsequent years. We have to go back. I have to say we have to go back to the 50s, and I don't mean 1850s. I'm 1950s. So there were 2 years of kindergarten, and in the middle of my second year, my parents had built a house in the next town over, and they were going to move for Christmas. We were going to move into our new house. And I said to my dad, well, I won't be able to move. And, and he said, what are you talking about? We're moving. And I said, well, yes, but I have to graduate with my kindergarten class. And I think he was dumbfounded at first, the way he looked at me. But he said, well, what makes you think you can do that? And I said, well, it's because I'm in Mrs. Waters' kindergarten class, and I want to graduate from Mrs. Waters' kindergarten class. And he said, well, how do you think you're going to do that? Well, my grandmother lived in that town. She lived upstairs from us in a duplex. So I said, well, I can stay here and go to school. And he said, no, you can't. You're moving with us. And so, 2 beats went by, and I said to him, okay, then you're going to have to raise my allowance. And he said, what do you mean raise your allowance? And I said, because I'm going to have to take the bus to the next town to go to kindergarten. It was 3 miles away, more or less. And, I think this story is interesting because I think it says more about my parents in a lot of ways than it says about me, because my dad agreed to raise my allowance and allow me to take the bus to go to kindergarten. But he did say, it does snow in Wisconsin in the wintertime. It's very cold. And he said, don't ever expect your mother to pick you up. And I said, I won't. I'll be walking the 4 blocks down to the bus station, bus stop, and be waiting there for the bus. And I did. And, I thought it was a great confidence in a young child to allow a young child to do that. I don't know if a parent would do that today, but, the 50s. Wasn't the same as today. It was a little calmer then, and it was Milwaukee after all. We were sort of, we got things later than the coast, and we were a little calmer, maybe. But it still was a great adventure for a kid to be trusted to go on the public bus system at that age and go to your school and come home, and it was just one of the first stories of confidence as a kid that I always had confidence, but as a kid, to have your parents have confidence in you at that age was really, I think, very telling for me, and very, just one of many things that happened to me as I was growing up that just gives you more confidence to go ahead and strike out on your own.